Hello guys, it's Revolution. So another Goku vs Superman battle. This time is Ultra Instinct Goku versus the Time Trapper Superman Prime, otherwise known as Prime Trapper. That's appeared in DC Comics Final Crisis Legion of Free Worlds. So basically a Superman Prime with the abilities of the Time Trapper. Absolutely wild, I know, but we'll get to exactly what powers he has in a moment. The Goku we are using for this first battle is the mainstream continuity Goku from Dragon Ball Super, with his latest and greatest transformation, Ultra Instinct, that we saw in the Tournament of Power against Awakened Jiren. Now on this channel on Revolution we have done Superman Prime against Ultra Instinct Goku before, but this Superman Prime is very different from that version of Superman Prime, or Superboy Prime depending on your preference. This is by far the strongest version of Superman Prime. I hope you're ready. But before we begin, Dragon Ball Heroes has just unveiled Ultra Instinct Capsule Corp Goku. We know that the Dragon Ball Heroes characters far outmatch and outpower those of the regular continuity from Dragon Ball Super. How strong is this version of Ultra Instinct? Drop your thoughts and reasons why down in the comment section. Whilst you're at it, if you're new to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button as well as the bell button next to it to be notified whenever I release new content. Do plenty of interfictional verse battles on this channel. If you're already subscribed, please do keep lending me your energy. Keep smashing that like button and commenting down below. Feel free to share this content and help spread the word. And if you're on Twitter or Instagram, do come follow me on those social media platforms where we can discuss all these things further. So we're going to start off with Goku from Dragon Ball Super and of course talk about his Ultra Instinct transformation. Now obviously this is predominantly a Dragon Ball channel and we've covered Goku many a time on this channel, so I'll try and keep this short and sweet. But first I must address an issue because this is a Dragon Ball channel. Often when another versus character gets beat, they appeal to motive. I can't possibly like another fiction, can I? Enjoying other verses or other works of fiction can't possibly be allowed in the ultimate rulebook of fandoms. Never heard of the ultimate rulebook of fandoms? That's because it doesn't exist. This cheap appeal to motive, proclaiming bias because you're incapable of objective thinking, automatically tells me that you're an irrational fanboy with a one-dimensional debating skill set. So basically if I see any of that in my comment section, I'm just going to evade it like I've got Ultra Instinct. Anyway, on to Ultra Instinct Goku. With Dragon Ball characters, I've been scaling them in two ways. One by feats and statements from the show, the other by key multiplication scaling. The reason I do this is because some people don't accept anything other than feats and statements from a particular piece of fiction because that's against their law of power scaling. That's fine, I empathize with that. That's why I portray both ways of scaling in my videos, to literally give you the choice. But if you don't like key multiplication scaling, don't pretend that it doesn't exist. We have been told since early Dragon Ball, literally the original manga of Dragon Ball, that by multiplying your ki, you multiply all your combat abilities. If this ever transpires not to be true and a new series or a new guidebook tells us it's not true, that would be new information. We can only power scale on the information we have presently, and presently the show is still advocating that if you multiply your ki, you multiply all combat abilities, strength, speed, power, defense. And once again, if you don't like key multiplication scaling and you feel there has to be a feat or a statement that complies with the key multiplication scaling, that is just your choice. But once again, do not pretend that key multiplication scaling doesn't exist. Anyway, onto the feats and statement scaling of Goku. Now in episode 28, we know that Beerus and Champa were going to have a brotherly scuffle that would have destroyed two separate macrocosms, Universe 6 and Universe 7. The reason they are macrocosms because the Universe 7 universe has literally been displayed to be 3 times the size of our very own universe in the Daizenshu itself. It contains the mortal universe, which represents our universe. It contains the cosmos, which is the same size as the mortal universe, and then you have the extra radius created by the supreme world of the Kais, and then you also have the Kaioshin realm at the bottom. Whis and Vados stated that Beerus and Champa would destroy it all, that's why they cannot fight. So God of Destruction's Beerus and Champa had enough power to destroy 2 macrocosms over a 5th dimensional axis. Well, in the Jump magazine produced by Shueisha, who owned Dragon Ball alongside Akira Toriyama, it stated that Ultra Instinct Goku might be able to beat the God of Destruction Beerus himself. Now we don't know if this is Ultra Instinct Omen Phase 3 or Mastered Ultra Instinct, as they both appeared in episode 129, which was what the Jump magazine was for. However, it does use an image of Ultra Instinct Omen Phase 3. But we can at least deduct that with Mastered Ultra Instinct it contains enough power to destroy a macrocosm 3 times the size of our very own universe. So even by feats and statement scaling, he is multi-universal with Ultra Instinct. Now onto key multiplication scaling. Now obviously in the Battle of God Saga we saw Beerus and Goku clash 3 times, and it was stated by the Elder Kai, Whis, and the narrator that they were going to destroy the Universe 7 macrocosm. Fortunately, Goku perfected a technique which ultimately nullified the shockwaves that were collapsing the universe. 3 blows for a macrocosm 3 times the size of our very own universe. Considering it was a shared feat, that would pit Goku as a Super Saiyan God in Battle of Gods at half universe level of destructive capacity. It was then implied that Goku absorbed all this power into his base and then can stack Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan God again, which we now know as stacked Super Saiyan God, as well as Super Saiyan Blue, Super Saiyan God turning Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, undergoing 3 phases of Ultra Instinct Omen, only to arrive at Mastered Ultra Instinct or Complete Ultra Instinct. As per the Super Exciting Guide, Super Saiyan 3 is a 400 times base multiplier, stacked Super Saiyan God is even stronger and faster than that, Super Saiyan Blue is potentially 50 times Super Saiyan God, Kaioken times 20 and Super Saiyan Blue 20 times of course, and then we haven't even got to Ultra Instinct. I think it's safe to say that Goku is thousands of times stronger than Battle of Gods Super Saiyan God Goku. This would put him at mid-multiversal levels of attacking potency. That is key multiplication scaling, and I've not even taken into account the amount of times he got stronger through training, Zenkai boosts or adaptation boosts. Now of course it's not that I don't accept Goku got much stronger throughout the course of Dragon Ball Super, it's just that they're hard to gauge exactly how many times he got stronger, so to get a more solid idea of where Goku's power lies, I often discount them for the purpose of these verse battles. I also don't take into account in these verse battles that Dragon Ball characters' destructive capacity doesn't increase linearly when they increase their ki or multiply their ki, it actually increases exponentially, and this has been shown many times throughout the course of Dragon Ball. But obviously you cannot really get a solid number based on random plot-induced exponential increases. So in reality I'm actually downplaying Goku here. The main cast of Dragon Ball characters have been faster than light since the Saiyan saga. Goku is a martial arts genius, and with Ultra Instinct it literally gives him the ability to move without thought. It removes the thought process, giving him an extra speed advantage over his opponents. It's an incredibly useful ability to have, however it's not impenetrable. Jiren the Grey of Universe 11 managed to land 6 blows in total on Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku during episode 130, so you can land on it, it's just extremely difficult. To hit a user of Ultra Instinct you have to be faster, stronger and strategically adept as Jiren was, until Goku used a pure progress like ability and ultimately powered up, probably at the cost of his time in the Ultra Instinct form, but ultimately he beat Jiren. He can utilise impressive abilities such as instant transmission and the Kamehameha, allowing him to attack at range. Due to his Saiyan biology, Goku tends to grow stronger throughout battle. However, it must be said that Goku's stamina isn't particularly high the higher he goes in transformations, and particularly Ultra Instinct only lasted 30 to 45 seconds in the Tournament of Power against Jiren. So even with feats and statements he's multi-universal, with key multiplication scaling he is mid-multiversal. Goku is pretty damn strong, but can the Time Trapper version of Superman Prime take him down? So who exactly is Time Trapper Superman Prime? Well, most people are familiar with that. Initially appeared in Countdown to Infinite Crisis, obviously playing a major role in the events of Infinite Crisis itself, becoming quite villainous and ended up in the custody of the Guardians of the Universe, surrounded by 50 Green Lanterns guarding his cell. However, he was broken free by the Sinestro Corps when they attacked Oa in the Sinestro Corps War, ultimately donning a new power suit resembling the anti-monitor suit he saw in Infinite Crisis, which ultimately garnered energy, and for Superman Prime he blocked the negative effects of the red sun, which ultimately drained Superman Prime's power and allowed him to keep intact his power levels from absorbing yellow sunlight, becoming more powerful than ever. However, it didn't stop there, because at the end of the Sinestro Corps War, a Guardian willingly sacrificed himself to destroy Superman Prime. However, Prime ended up infusing the Owen energy and was warped back into the multiverse. He would then reappear in Countdown to Final Crisis, infamously wearing the black suit and with the Owen Guardian energy absorbed. This version of Superman Prime is incredibly powerful. He even has his base of operations on the Source Wall, and he entrapped the 5th dimensional imp Mr. Mixier's Pitalik, beating him to a pulp. Now I did cover this black suited Superman Prime in a video against Ultra Instinct Goku previously. I'll link it at the end of this video so you can check it out. fact will go far more in depth about this version of Superman Prime, but he is incredibly powerful, easily multiversal levels of power, but he is not the strongest version of Superman Prime. Now you're probably sitting there thinking, well, if you beat up the 5th dimensional imp, that would literally put him at high multiversal levels of power. Well, that version of Mr. Mixer's Pitalik in Countdown's Final Crisis was severely weakened due to the fallout from Infinite Crisis. The Spectre in Day of Vengeance weakened the effects of magic on the 3 and 4 dimensional planes within the DC multiverse. This removal of magic from the Earth leaves Mr. Mixer's Pitalik nearly powerless, wandering the streets of Metropolis and ultimately getting smacked up by a villain named Ruin. Now, Ruin is literally a city level being at best. Ruin nearly kills Mr. Mixer's Pitalik, and whilst the events in Countdown's Final Crisis where he encounters Superman Prime are after these events, they are only shortly after these events. The Spectre's removal of magic from the multiverse is still in effect. So what I'm trying to say is Superman Prime is not at the levels of a fully powered 5th dimensional imp. However, Superman Prime would return in Final Crisis, Legion of 3 Worlds. This story begins with the Time Trapper in his world, which is literally beyond all time and space. You could argue that this world itself is a 5th dimensional structure. The Time Trapper finds Superboy Prime lost in time after the events of Countdown's Final Crisis, and he decides to use Superboy Prime as a means to destroy the Legion, sending him to the 31st century. He does appear a lot younger than what he did in Countdown's Final Crisis. That is because the Owen energy he got from the Guardian has drained due to his fight in Countdown's Final Crisis with the Monarch. He is no longer wearing the black suit he donned in Countdown's Final Crisis and is now wearing the Anti-Monitor themed suit that you saw in Sinestro Corp's War. He creates a legion of villains and ends up fighting against 3 alternate versions of the Legion. As the heroes begin to get on top and are about to take Superboy Prime down, a hand literally pulls Superman out of time and space into his own realm, and it turns out to be the Time Trapper. Well, the Time Trapper has appeared multiple times throughout the history of the DC Comics verse. He is an abstract being, an embodiment of entropy, with feats such as creating and warping his own universe. He can even take single moments of time and literally create entire realities spawning from them. And with preparation is capable of destroying all of time across the whole multiverse. Now, the DC multiverse has been consistently stated to be endless and infinite. Time Trapper is unbound by the flow of time, can exist simultaneously on various points in time across multiple timelines, meaning that he has immeasurable speed and multiversal plus levels of range. Obviously, being unbound by time, he has infinite amount of stamina. Well, in the concluding events to Legion of 3 Worlds, it is revealed that this version of the Time Trapper that sent Superboy Prime to fight the Legionnaires was actually a future version of Superboy Prime himself. Now, this Time Trapper Superman Prime is literally slapping regular Superman around, as well as many other heroes fighting against him. However, there's something different about the Time Trapper in this particular battle, and this is the reason why he loses. Because Superboy Prime has an emotional attachment to fighting this version of Superman and trying to wipe out his influence from all of time, he decides to fight him in hand-to-hand combat, and he is getting the better of him, but he doesn't actually need to, considering he has been stated to be a corporeal embodiment of entropy. In this particular fight, it's also mentioned that he has particularly lowered his mental defenses. However, the Legionnaires realise that the space they are fighting the Time Trapper in is a nexus to time and space, and ultimately they can call on all the Legionnaires throughout time and space to come and fight the Time Trapper, which is ultimately what happens. And Brainiac 5 comes up with an ingenious plan to turn the Time Trapper into a magnet, pulling him back to the 31st century where he meets his past self, Superboy Prime, who ultimately, stupidly attacks Time Trapper Superman Prime, ultimately creating a paradox that sends Superboy Prime back to Earth Prime and seemingly spells the end of Time Trapper Superman. But ultimately, a bloodlusted Time Trapper Superman Prime, if he fights as the corporeal embodiment of entropy, considering he operates outside the normal dimensionality, an infinitely high 4th dimensional being, possibly low 5th dimensional, with immeasurable speeds, high multiversal levels of reach, and considering Time Trapper Superman Prime should have all the original abilities of the original Time Trapper, therefore he should have abilities such as time manipulation, spatial manipulation, reality warping, energy manipulation, entropy manipulation, cosmic awareness, telepathy. He would have all these hacks to aid him, an infinite amount of stamina and multiversal levels of attack, high multiversal with preparation. He is an incredibly incredibly powerful being. This is the most powerful version of Superman Prime without a doubt. So who wins between Ultra Instinct Goku from Dragon Ball Super and Time Trapper Superman Prime? Well, the truth is it doesn't matter how you scale Goku, whether it's the feats and statement scaling or the key multiplication scaling. With god tier levels of power, Goku has proven that he can counter time manipulating abilities from the likes of the legendary assassin Hit. Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta has even destroyed time dimensions. But the truth is, the legendary assassin Hit's time manipulating abilities or the Rumor Spirit in Time is not even comparable to the level of time manipulating abilities that the Time Trapper has at his disposal. Prime Trapper should have all the abilities of the Time Trapper. That comes with a bunch of hacks that Goku might not be able to defend himself. He could attack Goku from any point in time. There is just simply no way Goku can win this currently. Even with Ultra Instinct, he will burn out pretty quickly given what we saw from the Tournament of Power. So he could dodge Prime Trapper's attacks for maybe 30 to 40 seconds, but it's not really going to get him anywhere. Superman Prime is an emotional wreck. Goku really isn't the goading type. It's an uneven battle to begin with. The Prime Trapper wouldn't get goaded into doing something stupid like he did in Legion of Free Worlds. Time Trapper is at the pinnacle of time manipulating abilities, and in terms of destructive capacity, whilst Goku is getting there, he is not there yet. Given Goku's low stamina, Prime Trapper wins this fight quite comfortably. So there you have it, guys. Time Trapper Superman Prime wins. And as I always say in these Goku vs Superman battles, don't get too over emotional about who wins these fights. The writers, creators are always going to keep creating more Goku and Superman stories, and they are only going to keep getting more and more powerful. So it's absolutely pointless getting hung up on a certain fictional character. Try and be objective when you debate somebody else, and of course, be humble and polite. Anyway guys, that's all from me. Please do smash the like button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Until next time, Ad Astra.